Hello and welcome back to SMLT Art'ist podcast. Today we have a guest from Portugal, an architecture illustrator, a teacher, a member of Urban Sketches Portugal. Hello Pedro, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you. All good, all good. A little bit tired from the trip, but yeah, it's all in all, it's nice to be here.
We are very welcome you here. We hope that you will have a great time in Lithuania. You will see what we are living with, maybe tomorrow a little bit more. And I have some questions for you.
Sure.
So first of all, how did you decide to become an architecture illustrator?
I did not. I didn't decide.
Not? Okay.
I didn't decide. Well,
how did that happen?
It kind of happens. It kind of happened naturally. So I was an architect before. So I used to work as an architect. I studied to be an architect. I worked about 8 years as an architect, and then I moved away a little bit from architecture for a couple of years. And that's the time when I moved to Sweden and I worked in a restaurant basically. That's when my illustration career started. I started doing small commissions for people there. And when I got back to Portugal, that was 2015, there was a job opening at an architectural office, a British architectural office that's based also in Lisbon, and they were having an opening for an architectural illustrator, and a friend of mine already worked there, and he told me, "Hey, don't you want to? Would you like to apply?" And sure, I don't know what it is, but let's go. I just basically found out what being an architectural illustrator was at the same time that I discovered that I started working on it. So basically, it was very, very natural. But it's fun. It's like sketching 8 hours a day. It's
what you like to do.
It's what I like to do. It's what I like to do.
Nice. And was that the reason when you discovered the Urban Sketching Society?
No, that was way before. So I became an urban sketcher very close to the beginning. So Urban Sketchers started around 2007, 2008, somewhere, and I joined the Urban Sketchers Portugal around 2009 or 10, I think, 10 maybe, yeah. So at the time, it was a friend of mine was already an urban sketcher. He was already part of the community, so he invited me in, showed me around, took me to a few sketch meetings. And I just found my people. These are my people. All right, this is the right deal. And I opened up all kinds of doors for me. First, it got me started sketching every day, which is something that I didn't do as an architect. I didn't sketch every day. Sometimes just for fun, but when I joined the Urban Sketchers, then I started to really take it seriously and really sketch every single day. I think it was all about the community, about being surrounded with like-minded people that helped this way. So, in a way, and then years afterwards, I got hired to this company to be an architectural illustrator. So. It was the other way around, basically.
So you are a long-time member already for the Urban Sketching Society?
I guess so. Almost from the beginning. Almost from the beginning.
And what do you like the most about the society?
Well, first, that it got me sketching every day. That was nice. I think I felt incentivized to sketch every day, so that was really positive. And the other good part is the community. So there's a great sense of community, and it's it's something that you're a part of, and it's feels very happy to be sketching with like-minded people, and like there's really no negative feedback because you're not really trying to accomplish anything. You're not really trying to set a goal to I want to sketch in this way, or I want to sketch in this style, or I want to sketch, like I have to do 20 sketches by the end of the day. You're not setting goals for yourself. So it feels very free, it feels very liberating. And also the feedback that you get from all people, it's always positive. Oh, I like what you did there. Show me how you did it. Or that's interesting, the way that you're using that technique. So there's a lot of questions and answers. There's a lot of sharing, pretty much, which I think, well, I didn't take fine arts. So I didn't study fine arts. I was never in the fine arts atmosphere. But I'm pretty sure that it's probably a little bit more competitive than the urban sketchers. The urban sketchers are a little bit more chill in the way that nobody's really competing with anybody because we're just there to sketch.
More relaxed, yeah.
More relaxed, yeah.
Nice.
So I think that's one of the big things that it's positive. It's the community. Oh, also that now everywhere that I travel in the world, I can always contact someone from the urban sketchers there, and I have instant friends there that can show me around. So that's really a great thing.
Can you see that you met friends all over the world because of the urban sketchers?
I'd say so, yeah. I'm pretty sure. Nice. Like, of course, not every sketcher becomes a friend, but like we have something in common, and that's like a conversation starter. And from there, you can like start to make friends as well. It happens in many places that I've visited. That's I still get in touch with all those people. So that's. And it's kind of like, even if you don't know the person, you kind of know the person already. So that's also
because you have the similar interests, right?
Exactly.
Everything sounds very positive. Are there any negative things?
None that I can think about. I mean, I guess I wanted to say that, but more at the beginning, I think. I felt that everything was too positive in a way. The feedback was too positive in a way that nobody would tell you what's wrong with your drawing, because really nothing is ever wrong with your drawing, because you're just doing it to relax. You're not doing it with the goal. But I right when I started, now I was exploring different techniques and exploring different things. And I think I needed the negative feedback as well, or like not the negative feedback, but the criticism.
Yeah.
And there was no criticism. There was only like, oh, that's so great. Oh, that's so fine. Oh, that's so that's so beautiful. And there was really nothing that I could hear that could make me improve. In terms of criticism, of course, because once you're there, once you start sharing, once you start to lose the fear of sharing your sketches to other people, then like the constructive criticism comes from yourself. So you kind of learn how to do it yourself. So yeah, really, I think there's nothing kind of negative I can say about it. I think
that's good to hear.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite art medium and why?
So it has to be the pen. Mm-hmm. The pen. It's where I started. So I started making art with a pen from drawing classes in architectural school. We only used, for like one semester or more than one semester, we only used pen basically. It was a way to keep track of our mistakes. So once we started sketching each other, sketching other colleagues, sketching the spaces around us, we would do a lot of sketching in the classes, and we would do a lot of sketching from the real world. And like you do one line with a pen, and then you can't go back. You can't erase it. There's no going back. So in a way, that's an advantage, because it keeps you alert, keeps you focused, And if you happen to do any mistakes, you can always learn from them because they're there. They're still there. You don't have the tendency to erase. You don't have even the possibility to erase them. So they're there. The mistakes are there for you to study, not for you to feel bad about them. And like it's only possible with the pen, or it's more possible with the pen. And then I started appreciating. Like I'm a big comic book reader. I read a lot of comic books. In a way, that's how I started to sketch, was to like copying comic books. And most of the comic books that I liked started with a pen, started with ink. So, and most of them are black and white, with just made with a pen. So, that's my style. And then years later, I added watercolor, which is also one of my favorites. But just to have like a little bit more of a chromatic interest in the images. The main thing is the pen, ink, black ink.
Do you like to experiment with some other materials, or you prefer to stick to the one you like?
I'm very conservative in that way. I usually stick to my usual tools. But sometimes I get the occasions, I get the chance to experiment something else. Usually it's by means of another person coming to me with something, coming to me with a challenge. So I usually sometimes I take workshops from other teachers, and they work with different materials, and that's a good way to experiment with something else. Because for me, I would I just stick with a pen, on the safe area. Just yesterday, I was having lunch with two sketchers one from Germany and one from the US, Eleanor Doughty and Jenny Adam, and a colleague of mine, Pedro. And we were sketching. We were just sketching as usual, me and the other Pedro, and the girls were sketching in a completely different way. That I knew their style and everything, but to see them work with different materials, with different pens, with wax, crayons, and all that. That gave me the will to let me try that out for a change. And in those things, in those moments, you kind of learn a lot. So I'm conservative, but I shouldn't be as conservative as I actually am. I should be a little bit more open to.
But you are a little bit more open as you try to try something else. Okay, and let's talk a little bit about the sketchbooks. I believe you have many of them at home. And when you go sketching, how do you choose which sketchbook you are taking with you?
Randomly.
Just one of the pile?
Just one. Well, yeah, more or less. Let's say that I go on a travel. I usually like to take something practical, big enough but practical. So I go with A5. Let's say that I'm going to New York, then I have to bring a tall sketchbook because skyscrapers. Let's say that I go to. It depends on the situation. Sometimes I'm a little bit choosy about the sketchbooks, but most of the time it's just I like to vary. I think I'm a little bit more experimentalist in the sketchbooks, trying different formats. If you see my bookcase filled with all the sketchbooks, it's all different heights, and some of them are coming out of the shelves. So I like to experiment a lot with formats. Usually I stick with the long landscape formats, A5, which is a little bit more practical to carry.
Yeah.
But sometimes I go a little bit big with the A4. Comes and goes.
It depends on the situation.
It depends on the situation and on whatever feels a little bit more different than I've been doing it so far.
Yes. And what are the most important things for you when you're choosing sketchbook?
I'm going to say something and then I'm going to contradict myself.
Okay.
So quality of the paper is very important to me, but then it isn't. Because, so I like good paper, and lately I've been more prone to choose cotton, 100% cotton, or partially cotton paper, because I'm enjoying experimenting with watercolor more lately. But then out of the blue, I come across very cheap like inexpensive sketchbook. Okay, let's give it a try, just to see something. This is experiments and like really crappy sheets of paper. And then I lose the fear of when I work with those kinds of paper. I lose the fear of experimenting so much. So I experiment a little bit more with crappy paper, with cheap paper. And oh, I should do this more often. Then I think I should do this more often. And then I go back to the more expensive cotton paper. So yeah, paper quality is important, but then paper non-quality is also important in a way. It all depends, I guess. Format is also important, of course, and the size, because practical reasons, because like fits in the backpack, good. And can I stand on the middle of the street and sketch with it? Good. So those are some of the things that I go to. Does it have like a hard cover or not? Because if I'm standing still with no base, then it's better to have a hard cover. Then I can like just keep straight.
Nice. I know that you are also a tutor, right? Instructor for.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite thing about being a tutor?
I would say it's the feedback loop. I'll explain a little bit more. So I feel that there's like a big feedback loop, a big cycle of information that goes back and forth. So usually I organize, I've been teaching since like 2014. Like actually my first workshop was in Sweden. I was teaching like bioengineering students how to sketch. So that was fun. It was a fun experience, and I didn't know anything about sketching. Then about teaching. Then I started to learn a little bit more, taking courses on teaching, how to teach and everything, and things got a little bit more efficient than that. But like the main thing that I get is the feedback of students. So I think of an exercise, which I think is going to be useful for those particular students, or for them to take away something, for them to learn the lesson, right? And then I test those exercises with the students, and from their results and their feedback, I see that if the exercise worked or not. And then I build up on that, and then okay, this exercise doesn't work so well. This exercise worked really well, so I will keep going with this one and improve on this one. So. But always depends on the theme of the workshop, of course. Another thing that's important is I kind of use sketching workshops as a way to realize what I already know. All right, so I mean, I start sketching. I sketch every day, but I actually don't realize consciously what's the knowledge that I already know. When I'm forced to show other people that knowledge, then I have to kind of think about it and compile it and turn it into a learning experience. And that helps me a long way in realizing, okay, how far have I gone, basically. So it's a way of keeping track of, realizing and keeping track of how is my sketching career going, in a way. And also, I mean, like the contact with the students is amazing. Usually it's like people are thankful, people are challenging, people are like, there's all sorts of experiences in teaching. It's not my number one activity. It's not my number one activity is going to be illustrating at all times, but teaching will never leave me, I would say.
You like the
yeah,
the
I like.
teaching
It's
part.
not my favorite thing, but it's like it's never going to leave me because of those reasons. I need teaching to learn more about myself and to learn more about how other people handle the sketching.
I also happen to know that you are a live event illustrator. Can you share some interesting thing that happened during one of those events?
So I can't think of anything really like any crazy story. So I sketch mostly at weddings, repertoire style. So I'm there sketching, following the bride and groom, or like following the couple around and sketching what they do. Like their interaction with the guests, sketching some of the guests, sketching the decor, the atmosphere, like everything. Like a little bit like a photographer, but it takes a long time. It takes much more time. But you know, like, and also events and corporate events as well. But there aren't any really. There haven't been any really like crazy stories. I think like the craziest story was maybe like I was sketching a wedding, and the groom was a rugby player. He played a rugby
Okay.
player. He played rugby in the national team, and of course all of the team was there, his colleagues and everything. And suddenly they started chanting they formed a circle and they started chanting to themselves like rah, rah, those like war cries, as like if they were going on the field.
Okay.
And then they sing one time and then they take off their shirts. They sing another time, they take off their pants, and they sing another. So like I was pretty sure that I was going to draw a bunch of 15 naked men. But it didn't come to that. They all kept their underpants on. But yeah, like I think that's like the craziest story. Everything else is like quite smooth, quite efficient. Nothing really like. It's happy moments, so like there's no really crazy stuff going on. People appreciate it a lot. They come. You know, like first I'm there sketching, and people don't notice. People still don't notice what am I doing there, and then like. They start to have drinks and they start to gain the courage to come up behind me and see, oh, that's beautiful, oh, that's amazing. And then I have friends for the rest of the evening. Pretty much for the rest of the evening during the weddings, I have people around me like commenting and talking to me, so it's fun. It's kind of fun. It takes a little bit the pressure off.
It's becoming quite a popular thing to have the illustrator.
Yeah, in
right?
weddings, in corporate events as well. It's it's like, especially after the pandemic, it started to be a really serious business. Also, a lot of competition started emerging as well. So, I think we were probably one of the first. When I say we are, I mean like me and my colleague. I did this with another colleague, and we started like 2016 and. I think we were kind of the first, in Portugal at least, to do this. And then it started growing, and now there's a lot of people doing it. So
Nice.
it's fun jobs.
And what else do you like to do on your free time besides sketching?
What do you mean by free time? What is?
You don't have free time?
What is the meaning of free time?
When you're not sketching?
I'm
you're
always
not sleeping.
I'm always sketching.
Even in your sleep?
No, of course. I like sleeping. I like. No, right now there's really not a lot of free time, especially like in the last few years, because I'm kind of so I'm working for this architectural company, but I'm also taking freelance jobs, and you know, like workshops, weddings, events, and everything. So it's like working two jobs, and it's been like this for the past like 5-6 years. It's getting to be a little bit. I'm getting a little bit tired. So I try to not take up so many freelance jobs. So the job is there, of course, 9 to 5, and I try to not take so many freelance jobs nowadays, because first of all, I've now a 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old now. So I want to spend time with him. So that's one thing that I like to do while not sketching. Spend time with my almost 3-year-old boy. Other than that, like spending time with friends, like having dinner, drinking, having fun, and then movies and video games as well.
Video games as well.
Yeah, video games. Yeah. Big fan of video games ever since I was a kid. And you know, like never stopped. Actually, I think if I had been born in a different decades, like later in the years, I think I would have tried to become a video game artist, like concept characters and concept atmospheres and all that. I think that would be a great career for me. But it was like too. I think it was like I was too early in life to become that.
So you became an illustrator.
I became an architect and then an illustrator.
Sorry.
And then an illustrator.
Nice.
But I'm very happy with my career change to illustrator.
Good. And I have the last question. If talking about art, what advice would you give to your younger self?
That's the difficult question. So I think my younger self would not listen to my advice. So it would be completely useless. I do not know. I would think maybe I think I would advise myself to sketch more during the architectural years. Because at the time that I was studying and practicing architecture, sketching wasn't really a tool. It was supposed to be, like, because like architects sketch, like, naturally, but it wasn't the case. It wasn't really the case because I think we're learning too much about computers, about how computers can make your job more efficient, and like I was letting go. We were, as a class, as a profession, everybody was kind of letting go sketching as a thinking tool, because that's what it is. Like, it's like an observation tool and a thinking tool. The few times that I was sketching while doing architecture, while like conceptualizing architecture, I was doing as a thinking tool. So I was like, how does this work? Like trying to think ways, solutions to problems that I had in the design. And it was like really tiny sketches and like just that kind of sketch, and then I would just go back to the computer to sort it out. So I think my advice would be to like sketch more during your architectural years, because as soon as I found about the urban sketches, I was like on the road. I was on the right track, and I didn't need any more advice.
That's the one, right?
That was the one.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing. Sharing your thoughts, ideas. It was very, very lovely to have you here.
It was my pleasure, and thank you so much for inviting me.
We are very happy to have you here. And for our listeners, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to follow us on social media and our lovely friend Pedro. Cut.
Yay!
That's all?
That's all? Great.